I was just a college freshman, barely scraping by on a hardship scholarship, eager to prove myself at a respected university. At first, I worried I wouldn't fit in, it was out of state, and I didn't know a soul. Back in high school, I'd earned a reputation as the bad boy every girl had to date at least once. Honestly, I probably acted like some cheesy 1950s movie tough guy, but at the time, I thought I was the coolest guy around. Some girls saw me as a jerk, but plenty were eager to go out with me, even knowing I often treated them like fools. A few months into college, I scored a date with a girl from one of my classes. I slipped right back into my macho stud routine, acting like I was doing her a favor by even agreeing to go out. She wasn't impressed. When I dropped her off, I didn't even bother turning off the engine. She didn't say goodnight or plant a kiss. Instead, she slammed my car door and stormed inside. My scholarship required me to visit several campus offices for forms and whatnot. Every time, I managed to rub the secretaries the wrong way with my cocky attitude, like I was doing them a favor just by showing up. If a secretary was attractive, I'd switch to my God's gift to women mode and try to get a date. I ended up going out with a few girls more than once before losing interest. Then one day, I got a formal letter in my campus mailbox. It asked me to contact the Dean of Student Affairs about complaints of harassment. Harassment? I thought I was doing those girls a favor by taking them out, especially since they didn't seem like they got many dates. The dean was a woman, and I figured she wouldn't understand, so I just crumpled up the letter and threw it away. 2 more notices came, and I trashed those 2 until the final one warned that I faced expulsion. That got my attention. I couldn't afford to lose this college, its prestige was key for landing a job after graduation. The formal hearing required me to bring my parents and an attorney if I wanted. My parents were horrified and immediately reached out to a family friend who was a lawyer. On a crisp fall morning, we sat as a long list of complaints against me was read aloud. It turned out multiple secretaries, all offended by my advances in different ways, had filed separate complaints. The total? 15 harassment claims over just 3 months. Despite formal warnings, I'd ignored them and kept pushing. Now, the college was ready to expel me under its policies. My parents begged me to apologize and plead for a second chance. I put on my best act, but the dean wasn't convinced. Moments later, I was told to clear out of campus by the weekend. The family lawyer asked if the school might reconsider, promising I would comply with any requirements. The deans took a 15-minute recess to discuss privately with the attorney. When they returned, everyone smiled, and I was told a deal had been reached allowing me to stay if I agreed to a strict punishment. My family was ecstatic, but the attorney warned that the terms were serious. If I refused, I'd be expelled with slim chances of acceptance anywhere else. "All right," I said, trying to sound confident. "I'll take the punishment." "What is it?" "This isn't something to take lightly, Jim," the attorney cautioned. "Your punishment will be harsh, but fair. So, what's the worst they could do? Make me apologize publicly? I can handle that." "No, Jim. The harshest penalty is what they call punishment in kind." He spoke slowly. "This punishment is meant to teach you a lesson about how women should be treated." "Is this one of those sensitivity workshops?" I groaned. How ridiculous. My parents' friend looked annoyed and asked the deans if we could discuss matters privately. They agreed. Once alone, he dropped the bombshell. "Jim, your punishment is to learn how to treat women by attending college as a woman." My mother shook her head in disbelief. "What did you say? How is he supposed to learn that?" "Are they serious?" my dad asked. "How could he possibly do that?" "They are serious," the attorney said. "It's a last resort measure but has worked before. The school will let Jim stay with his full scholarship only if he agrees." "They're crazy," I exclaimed. "They can't make me do that. We'll sue." "No, it's legal if you agree," I was told. "Wait, you want me to agree to go to school in drag? Everyone will laugh at me. I'd be humiliated." "It's not just going in drag, Jim," the attorney explained. You'd enter a program after which only a close medical exam would reveal your true gender. You'd live as a woman for 4 years here, and when you graduate, your records will show you completed your degree without issue. So you want me to let some butcher change me forever? I shot back. No way. My father asked, what exactly would this program do? Would he be a woman for life? This school is connected to a large teaching hospital, the attorney explained. The program was designed for men who want to become women. It lets them experience life as women before any permanent changes are made. So nothing permanent happens at first? My mother asked, confused. He'd still look like a boy. The attorney took a deep breath. No, quite the opposite. He would look like any other woman his age, but it can all be reversed when he graduates. What do you mean, look like any other woman? I asked, suspicious. Jim, you'd develop chests, wider hips, a woman's shape. You'd look and sound like a woman, and live fully as one for the next 4 years. My parents whispered together for several minutes. Finally, my dad asked, it's all reversible, and he keeps his scholarship. Absolutely reversible, and yes, he keeps the scholarship, the attorney assured him. Will anyone ever find out? My mom asked. The records will be changed to show a male attended and graduated, came the reply. I saw my parents nodding to each other. No. I screamed. I won't do it. Where else can you go, Jim? Mom asked. No other college was interested, your grades weren't good enough. He'll do it, Dad said quietly. When does it start? It felt like I was hearing my own death sentence. You can't do this to me, I shouted. Please, anything but this. I never treated a woman badly in my life, Jim, Dad said firmly. Your mother and I didn't raise you to be a jerk. Maybe this will teach you that women aren't to be treated like trash. A document outlining everything was brought out for us to sign. The key phrase that caught my eye was, nothing shall be done that cannot be safely reversed within the approximate time required to implement the change. I took the pen, hands shaking, knowing my parents had made up their minds. Without the scholarship, I'd be working a dead-end job. I signed the form, dated it, and handed it to my parents who signed too. The attorney witnessed the signatures and held the door open as we left to hear the details of my sentence. The dean announced, you will spend the next 4 years attending this university as a female student. Your records will be updated to reflect your temporary gender, and all arrangements will be made so you can function fully as a woman here. An official note will show your voluntary withdrawal effective this weekend. When you successfully complete the program, that note will be removed, and your records updated to show you graduated, with any honors or awards earned. I was told to return to my dorm to pack my belongings. I was to leave campus for a time and prepare to return as a woman. Since this punishment was mandated by the school, I would receive a clothing allowance to buy a woman's wardrobe. I had 1 week to purchase new clothes and then report to a hospital office where I would be cared for during the next 2 semesters. The school handled everything efficiently. Before I left, they handed me a check for clothes and wished me luck. The dean said she looked forward to my return and hoped everything would work out. The week flew by, and soon I was back with several suitcases packed with dresses, skirts, tops, pants, and lingerie. The only male clothes I had were what I was wearing. I was greeted by a young woman named Candice, who said she'd be helping me until I was ready to return. I didn't realize I'd been staring at her chest until she arched her back, smiled, and said, "Like them? Don't worry, you'll have your own set soon enough." Shock hit me. I wasn't staring, honestly. I stammered, trying to avoid trouble. Why assign a girl to help me? Isn't that risky? Relax. Call me MIA, she said with a grin. I'm working on my master's in sociology, specializing in transgenderism, so I'm interning at the school clinic. Besides, get your ogling out of the way now, soon you'll be the one on the receiving end. And no worries, no one's taking chances, you won't be able to hurt anyone for at least 4 years. Did you have to say that? I said uneasily. I'm not comfortable with this. Being turned into a woman bothers me. Don't let it, MIA said gently. You'll look like a female for 4 years, but it's your choice. Yeah, great choices, be a loser or be a woman, I muttered. A few minutes later, we arrived at the apartment where I'd stay during training. MIA waited as I got out and opened the car door for her. That's lesson 1, she smiled warmly. Expect a guy to be a gentleman and settle for nothing less. I'll try to remember that, I laughed, lifting my luggage. Though I doubt I'll find myself in a car with another guy anytime soon. MIA looked me over slowly. You're going to make a stunning woman. Guys will line up to date you. Date me? With other men? I said, shocked. Exactly. Lots of men. MIA laughed. You'll see. She showed me around the apartment and told me to leave my suitcases in the bedroom as we talked about what lay ahead. The school had prepared a detailed schedule for the changes I'd undergo. First, my hair would be done, then electrolysis to remove facial and chest hair. I'd learn makeup, fashion, and hairstyling. Voice lessons would follow, aided by a special throat spray to alter my voice. After about 2 months, chest implants would be next, followed by the final surgeries to transform my genitals. Are you sure this is reversible? I asked, voice trembling. They won't actually remove anything permanently, right? MIA took my hand. The only permanent change is losing facial and chest hair. Otherwise, you can go back to being a guy whenever you want after 4 years. That'll be the very next day, I said firmly. Or the night before if I can manage it. Let's see how you feel in 4 years, MIA said, meeting my eyes. Some choose to make it permanent. I won't be one of them, I promise. Who'd want to live the rest of their life as a woman? Okay, that's the big picture, MIA said. Between those, you'll train in how to dress and act like a woman. First, you'll take a hot bath and remove hair on your legs and underarms with cream or a razor, whichever you prefer. My mom already took care of that last week, I mumbled. What's next? Dressing, MIA said casually. We'll pick your outfit, and I'll get rid of your current clothes. From now on, you'll wear only women's clothing. Back in the bedroom, she helped me unpack. I tried to reach my lingerie case first but was too slow. She pulled out delicate pieces of nylon, satin, and lace, selecting a matching pink satin bra, panty, and half-slip, plus tan pantyhose and chest forms, all carefully chosen by my mom. Your mom has great taste, MIA said as she worked. Good quality, pretty colors, and a nice mix. They're all yours, MIA, I joked, trying to keep my spirits up. Thanks, she smiled. I've got plenty, but you'll need these. As I unpacked more, MIA stopped me when I reached for a denim dress. Perfect for now, she said, taking it from me. No need for anything fancy yet. Can I wear jeans? I asked nervously. Sorry, no slacks until your final surgery. Too obvious. How could I forget? Don't worry. In a few months, you'll look amazing in tight jeans. Thanks, I said quietly. I'll wait. Speaking of waiting, MIA said cheerfully, I'll wait in the other room while you change. Call me if you need help. I should be okay. Mom gave me some lessons on this, I told her. Good old Mom, thinking of everything. You're a lucky girl, she called as she left. Only then did I realize she'd called me a girl. An average 18-year-old guy about to become a girl, and there was nothing I could do. Trapped. They could do anything once I was in the operating room. I might wake up with huge chest. Mom's training helped as I dressed, hooking my bra the way she taught me and slipping the chest forms in perfectly. I sighed, pulling on the dress and wondering if dresses would be permanent. Gathering my old clothes, I handed them to MIA. The feel of my dress and slip brushing against my nylon-clad legs was strange. Here you go, I said, giving up the last of my male life. What now? Sit down, she said, patting the chair next to her. We need to find you a name. MIA pulled out a small pink paperback titled Names for Your New Daughter. I like something simple but pretty, she said, flipping through pages. What do you think of Lisa? I never thought about it before, I said, smoothing my skirt and sitting. Nice touch, she said, smiling. Your mom again? I nodded. She patted my knee. Cross your legs. Ladies don't sit with their legs spread. I tried, but it hurt to cross them like hers. That'll change, she said. How about Grace? Cute, I said, but I don't see myself as a Grace. Cheryl? No way. Sandra? It's the 90s, MIA. No one's named Sandra anymore. How about Emily? I mulled it over for a moment. Emily's nice, I said. How about Emily Ann? Emily? MIA suggested. Emily for short. You mean like Virginia? I asked straight-faced. You know, virgin for short, but not for long. How long you stay a virgin is up to you, MIA laughed. Wait a minute, I yelled. What's this about being a virgin? I'm not into that gay stuff. Nothing gay about it, MIA said. You'll be able to have intimacy as a woman if you want. Remember, you're supposed to experience life as a woman. Intimacy can be part of that. No, I said firmly. I won't date, and I'll never go to bed with another guy. MIA shrugged. Your choice, just letting you know it's possible. Let's get back to my new name, okay? I asked, steering away from the topic. Emily Grace Harper. That's your new name. I could do worse, I said, accepting it. Sure, like Virginia. We laughed, then MIA pulled out official-looking papers. The first was a petition to legally change my name. My family and I decided to use Harper, my paternal grandmother's maiden name, to avoid recognition. I wrote Emily Grace Harper and signed it. Next was a form for a new birth certificate to reflect my new name and gender change to female. Then I signed a statement, as Jim, from the clinic administrator confirming my enrollment in the gender reassignment program and the need for documents proving my female status to complete tests. What's the test part about? I asked. That's where the person lives and works as the opposite gender to see if they can handle it. All official papers show the desired gender to help acceptance. Once we get all paperwork sorted, we'll get you ready and update your license photo. You'll be set. Before the operation, it takes about 3 weeks. Then you can get a job and drive. A job? What kind of job can I get pretending to be a girl? Stop saying pretending, Emily, MIA scolded. You're not pretending. From now on, you are a girl. I hadn't thought about working like this, I mumbled. If you get a waitress job at a local bar, be careful, MIA warned. Some college guys think they can do whatever they want to a woman. Hands tend to wander. This was unreal. Not only would I have to work as a woman, but I might have to deal with some guy trying to grope me. What else could go wrong? MIA interrupted my thoughts. Put on some shoes, we're getting your hair done. I can't go out looking like this. Everyone will know I'm a guy. The beauty shop is used to making guys look pretty. That's why they're here, she said, brushing off my protests. MIA handed me a pair of black flats. Don't worry. You'll wear heels soon, but flats look better with your dress now. I'd always admired girls in heels, something about the way they walked fascinated me. Now, I'd be the one driving some poor guy wild. Downstairs, the beauty shop wrapped a plastic cape around me and tilted the chair back to wash my hair. While one woman cut, combed, teased, and curled my hair, another gave me a manicure. Once my hair was in rollers, I was taken to another room where a needle was pressed against my hair follicles, and an electric current zapped through. Ouch! I screamed. Is this medieval torture? Just removing facial hair, dear. Sit still or I might jab the wrong spot, the woman said. After 3.5 hours, my face was sore and red, fingernails long and painted red, and my brown hair shorter, curly, with blonde streaks. That's enough for now, MIA said. Next, a doctor's visit. We headed to another part of the building, MIA confident, me trailing, looking like a poorly made-up woman with a sunburn. The doctor had me change into a robe and gave a thorough exam, no detail missed. When I mentioned the private's exam with legs in stirrups, Emir laughed. Now you see what a pain it is for women. After the exam, the doctor met with MIA and me. He mostly spoke to MIA, but I was included occasionally. He saw no problem with the surgery to reconstruct my genitals, saying there was plenty of room for it to appear female. He noted I'd be an ideal candidate for chest implants, suggesting a 36B size would suit me best. I wasn't excited about having chests, though. He wrote several prescriptions, one to soothe my burning face, another to suppress male hormones, and a small dose of female hormones to keep things balanced. MIA accepted the prescriptions and agreed on the chest size. She scheduled a follow-up for the next week. I was given a bottle of liquid to gargle daily to feminize my voice. Before getting dressed, I got a shot in the butt to start my transformation. MIA happily helped fill the prescriptions, and I began taking them that evening over dinner. She smiled as I swallowed the pills, which the doctor said would chemically remove my parts and temporarily turn me into a woman. I expected a dramatic change the moment I took the pill, but my expression must have shown otherwise. This part will be pretty subtle, MIA said with a smile. No sudden urge to go shopping or anything. But once the hormones build up, you'll feel less aggressive and more feminine. I was still trying to grasp what she meant by more feminine when she added, the urge to shop comes later along with the desire to have children. At first, I wasn't paying much attention, but suddenly the last part hit me. Children? I shouted. Just kidding, Emily, she laughed. But you'll need to pay close attention, it's all important stuff you'll have to know. We both laughed, then after dinner, MIA insisted on working with me on my walk and posture. The rest of the evening was spent practicing how to move like a woman. It was hard work, since I had to relearn everything I'd taken for granted. Women don't stand, sit, walk, or gesture like men, and now neither would I. The nail extensions glued to my fingertips didn't help. I never realized how tricky it was for the girls I dated to pick things up with long nails. I only knew they looked sexy. By the time MIA left that night, I was exhausted. She made me walk, sit, cross my legs, stand, walk, sit, cross again until I couldn't take it anymore. Instead of resting, she made me practice picking up, carrying, and holding things like a woman. Then came lessons on walking in high heels, which nearly caused me to break a leg. After hours of practice, MIA finally agreed to let me get some sleep, reminding me there were many more hours of training ahead. Later, after a shower, I examined my smoothly shaved legs and wondered how I'd look after all the changes. MIA assured me I'd be an attractive woman, hoping that would make me feel better about what was coming. She was wrong. Being an attractive woman wasn't what I wanted, not even for the next 4 years. God, how I wished I could leave the school, run home, and beg Mom and Dad to forgive me. I'd do anything, just please don't make me a woman. I knew pleading wouldn't help. Dad said I was getting what I deserved, and Mom was looking forward to having a daughter, even if only for a few years. I had been stupid, overbearing, and did I mention stupid? But I didn't deserve this. I pulled on panties and a nightgown, glanced at the hot curlers Mom had bought, and remembered Mia's comment about Mom's thoughtfulness. If it were up to MIA, she said, I'd soon learn what it was like to sleep with a head full of curlers. Good thing she was supposed to be my friend. I shuddered to imagine what would happen if she weren't. I had a restless night, my butt ached from the shot, my face stung from electrolysis, and Mia's joke about having children echoed in my mind. I woke hours early, heart pounding, after dreaming I was marrying the clinic doctor. I wore a long white dress, carried flowers, and looked out at a church full of people through a lace veil. Part of me wanted to run away, but I couldn't stop walking toward the altar. I stood as the priest asked, "Who gives this woman?" and watched in horror as Dad proudly stepped forward and placed my hand in the doctor's. When the priest asked the important question, I wanted to scream for help, but all I could say was, "I do." My new husband lifted my veil, pulled me close, and kissed me. That night, lying beside him, I blushed as he told me how beautiful I was and how happy he was to marry me. We kissed and hugged, and soon he was lifting my nightgown, exploring my body, praising me again and again. His words ignited a fire in me, and I begged him to make love to me, telling him I couldn't wait to bear his children. Just as he gently removed my panties and I prepared for him to enter me, I woke up. It took almost an hour to calm down and fall back asleep, but thankfully the dream didn't return. The next morning, MIA knocked bright and early for another day of training. After trying to ignore her, I blurted out the details of my dream. MIA smiled and nodded. "Sounds like you've got a crush on the doctor, Emily," she laughed. "Does this mean you'll go through the full operation so you two can be happy together?" "Thanks for your concern," I snapped. "Can't you see I'm upset? This is ridiculous. Why can't I just apologize and move on?" "Because you wouldn't learn anything," MIA shot back. "You'd apologize to get out of trouble, but you wouldn't mean it. You need to understand what it's like to be treated like an object by some idiot who thinks he's a stud." I thought about arguing but feared how she might respond. I didn't want to spend my life as Emily, so I swallowed hard and stayed quiet. The next few days were hell. MIA drilled me day and night on makeup, fashion, manners, and a million other things I needed to learn to pass as a woman. She believed in learning by doing, so I spent hours trying on everything from miniskirts to evening gowns. I thought sitting straight in a miniskirt was tough until I held my breath while MIA zipped up an evening gown, then realized I couldn't breathe properly. "What's wrong, Emily?" MIA teased. "Short of breath. Unzip me. I can't breathe." "Relax, you'll get used to it. This is just a taste of what women endure wearing outfits men like to see." MIA was right. After a few minutes, I adjusted and stopped gasping. Once I got used to the gown, MIA made me try sitting down. What started as relief turned into a challenge as I struggled to bend and sit while zipped into the tight gown and girdle smoothing my figure. I twisted and turned, but I just couldn't sit comfortably. MIA laughed at my struggles. "Keep your upper body straight, Emily," she advised. "Now bend your knees slightly and push your hips out as you sit." Even with her help, it took almost an hour before I could walk across the room and sit upright in a straight-backed chair. Learning to sit on a soft chair or couch took even longer. Satisfied, MIA had me slip on high heels and practice walking and sitting all over again. I didn't understand why MIA wanted me to try heels again until I stood up and nearly twisted my ankle. "How am I supposed to balance on that tiny point you call a heel?" I complained. "And the soles are barely 2 inches wide. Women do it all the time." Mia's usual response. "You'll need shoes like these for formal occasions." With her holding my arm, I managed a few short steps across the room but wobbled dangerously the moment she let go. MIA refused to let me quit and cheered when I finally took a few steps unaided. "Go, girl," she shouted from the couch as I carefully crossed the living room. "Relax and let your cute little butt swing," she encouraged. Her enthusiasm worked. Soon I was walking and turning as if I were in flats. At first, the swaying felt odd, but between the girdle and dress, it was unavoidable. "Good job, Emily." MIA smiled, handing me a small clutch matching my gown. "Hold this in one hand and let your other arm sway as you walk." I held the purse in my right hand like I'd seen women do and lifted my left hand with a limp wrist, sashaying across the room. "How's this? Sexy enough?" I laughed. "Only if you're a streetwalker," MIA snapped. "Now knock it off, Emily. You're a lady, not a prostitute." "Sorry, just joking. No need to get so worked up." "It's not a joke," she said firmly. "If a woman wears anything even a little sexy, men assume she's available. They don't get that sometimes women just want to look and feel sexy. It's part of being a woman, but you'll understand that soon." "I doubt it," I said smugly. "You can make me look and act like a woman, but I'll never think like one." "That's impossible." "You're right," MIA shrugged. "That could never happen." "See," I said triumphantly. "Even nasty brutes like me can be right." "True," MIA chuckled to herself. "You won't be the first guy I've trained who suddenly wants to look like a sexy lady." MIA was relentless. Day after day, I learned to dress, walk, move, and behave like a lady. In 1 week, I learned more about clothes and makeup than I ever expected, but MIA wasn't satisfied. At week's end, she told me we'd be going shopping that weekend to get me used to being in public. Can't we just go through a drive-through for burgers and fries? I panicked. I can't pretend to be a girl in front of a lot of people. I told you, Emily, MIA said irritably, you're not pretending. As far as anyone is concerned, you are a girl. You wear girls' clothes, know how to do everything a girl does, this is just a chance to practice. Please, not yet. I begged. I'm not ready. You have a cute hairstyle, your makeup looks good, and some of your outfits are great. Trust me, you're ready. I couldn't argue with MIA, so we spent the day picking outfits for the weekend and planning. Since it was going to be warm, MIA suggested a light pink cotton top, a short white denim skirt, and medium heels. We'd hit a few malls, have lunch and dinner at nice restaurants, then catch a movie. If it weren't for doing all this as Emily, I might have looked forward to it. MIA was pretty and fun, any guy would be lucky to date her. But I'd be her girlfriend. I doubt I slept that night. Between curlers and dread about tomorrow, I tossed and turned. Morning came, and I dragged myself into the shower, turning the water on full blast to wake up. As the water hit my chest, I felt a strange pain. I'd taken hormones. The doctor had warned me about chest sensitivity, and he was right. I adjusted the shower head lower and gently squeezed my right pointer. It didn't take much pressure before I felt a sensation, and, worse, it felt good. After showering, I carefully shaved my legs. I hadn't noticed much stubble since last using hair removal cream 2 days ago, but my dress was short, and I didn't want anyone to notice. Once dry, I put on maroon panties Mom had bought. I'd been sticking to white panties, but somehow colored ones felt more feminine, maybe helping me act the part better. Deep down, I thought it was silly if lingerie, stockings, and skirts couldn't make me feel like a girl. Why would panty color matter? Still, I slipped them on and hoped for the best. As I placed chest forms in my bra, I caught myself staring at my chest in the mirror. What would it be like to have real chests? I wondered how I'd look after the final surgery. MIA had hinted I'd wear tight jeans easily, even bikinis. I hoped she was joking, but something in her voice said she wasn't. She said she couldn't wait to see me on a beach, chests attracting every male's attention. A nightmare I was determined to avoid. I wasn't going to beaches, let alone be caught dead in a bikini. But MIA said I wouldn't be the first guy in the program proud of his appearance in a skimpy dress or someday wanting to try a bikini. None regretted it, she smiled. A future problem, I decided, finishing zipping my skirt. First, I had to survive a weekend shopping as a woman. I carefully applied makeup and fixed my hair, hoping to blend in as just another woman. I'd only practiced this for a week, and although MIA said I was doing well, it was still just inside my apartment. How would I look to store clerks and other shoppers? Would someone call security if I stood in a dressing room wearing only a slip and bra? Lost in these worries, MIA appeared and gave me a close inspection. She said I'd done great but had a few tweaks to make. Reaching into her purse, she pulled out something like curved tweezers. Hold still, she instructed, pinching my eyelashes for about half a minute. Then she grabbed mascara from my vanity and brushed my lashes. You have beautiful long lashes, shame they were wasted on a guy. Maybe I should look on the bright side, they'll come in handy for a few years. I joked, trying to put the best face on things. That's true. MIA laughed. Plus, you're a late bloomer physically. The hormones will likely turn you into a really good-looking woman. And if they don't, the doctor will, right? I asked sarcastically. I get that this is tough, Emily, MIA said gently. You're going to be beautiful. The doctor can only do so much with what you have. You're thin, a bit short for a guy, and not very muscular. After some time on hormones, you'll look like a 13-year-old girl. Soon after, your body will develop more like a woman's. The doctor just speeds that process up. That's all. I exclaimed. I'll be equipped to shower at the YWCA? You don't see that as a problem? I've been that way my whole life, it's no big deal. MIA laughed. You were supposed to be, remember? I shot back. You were born that way. Well, to paraphrase, great women are made, not born, MIA said, laughing until tears rolled down her cheeks. I suppose it could be worse, I replied grimly. I'm just surprised at what you picked for me to wear. MIA wiped her tears. What did you expect? An evening gown? You need to fit in as a girl and get used to it. You're wearing what a lot of girls your age wear on weekends. Sorry, I said. I guess I'm just expecting the worst. You're scared, aren't you? MIA asked, concern clear in her voice. Terrified, I admitted. I wish I had gone home instead of agreeing to this. I'm so scared I don't know what to do. Just follow my lead, MIA said soothingly. I promise I'll take care of you. You're just learning what it's like to be a woman. No one wants anything bad to happen to you. I hope you're right, I said, tears slipping down my cheeks. Trust me, Emily, MIA said, drying my tears. Now, let's touch up your makeup and get started. On the drive to the mall, MIA chatted continuously, distracting me from my nerves. Suddenly, I realized what was happening, but MIA had already shut off the engine and was climbing out. Come on, Emily, she called cheerfully. You can't stay in there forever. I'll try. I shouted back. No, you can't, she laughed, opening my door and tugging my arm. Let's go before people start staring. That became Mia's magic phrase, just remind me I was attracting attention, and I'd do whatever she wanted. Trying to stay invisible, I meekly followed MIA into the mall. She headed straight for the women's section of a department store, browsing through racks of dresses, slacks, tops, and skirts while I tried to avoid bumping into other shoppers. Finally, MIA stopped at a rack of dresses and asked for my opinion. They're fine, I muttered. Just fine. Now can we go, please? Relax, Emily, she smiled. This is training. You have to learn your size and what looks good on you. You can't expect your mom to pick all your clothes forever, you're a grown girl now. MIA was good at this. With some effort, she convinced me no one thought I was out of place shopping for dresses. Before I knew it, she had me caught up in conversation and walking into a dressing room with an armful of outfits to try on. I wanted to tell MIA how furious I was for tricking me like that, but she'd already slipped away to the other side of the department store, grinning from ear to ear. I knew I'd have to get used to this kind of thing eventually, it was just that I'd hoped for later, not now. Promising myself I'd get back at her somehow, I grabbed my clothes, found an empty room, and started changing. Gathering every ounce of courage, I stepped out of the dressing room to model the outfits for MIA. Somehow, I managed to walk into the store wearing a dark red velvet dress. The fabric was incredibly soft and hugged me like a glove, ending just above my knees. It was so lightweight that I had to double-check the mirror several times to believe I was actually wearing it. The dress gently outlined my bust before flowing softly to the hem. As I stared at myself in the mirror, I instinctively turned from side to side like I'd seen other women do when trying on clothes. Mia's training over the past week was paying off. I realized that although the dress fit well, I'd need dark stockings, high heels, maybe a gold necklace or better yet, pearls to make the look complete. Emily, you are one hot lady, MIA whispered, approaching me. That dress really suits you. Maybe you're right, I said without thinking, smoothing the fabric over my hips. Dark stockings, heels, and the right accessories. Wait, I exclaimed, suddenly aware of what I was doing. I shouldn't be thinking like this. Relax and trust your feelings, Emily, MIA urged. You're hot, and you know it. MIA was right, and I knew it. It felt ridiculous to be thinking about accessories and how to jazz up an outfit, but I couldn't help it. She'd spent the last week teaching me how to be a girl, even how to think like one. I thought I was just going through the motions, but the lessons had sunk in deeper than I realized. She taught me to dress, fix my hair, do makeup, walk, sit, stand, talk, and apparently think like a girl too. Somehow, I just knew what would make this dress really special, and not only that, I wanted to make it look special on me. That's what scares me to death, MIA, I confessed anxiously. Is it possible I always felt this way and just didn't know it? Maybe, she said with a smile that could melt glacier. She glanced around to make sure no one was close enough to hear, then lowered her voice. But I'd bet it's the hormones you're taking making you more susceptible. Your body isn't the only thing changing, you'll find yourself thinking more like a woman too. Thinking like a woman? I whispered, panic creeping in. What happens when this is all over? Will I still think that way? Only if you're lucky, MIA replied sharply. If more men thought that way, they'd be a lot easier to get along with. Of course, guys don't need to know how to match eyeshadow and lipstick, just that women don't like being treated like bimbos. We appreciate a guy who treats us well and wants to really know us. And if they don't, you turn them into women, right? I blurted out, immediately regretting it. MIA stared at me for what felt like forever before answering. If it were up to me, I'd just kick your sorry but out of college, she hissed. Remember, this was your choice. You could have taken the macho way out and left, but you chose to spend 4 years as a woman. And now you're complaining about that. I'm sorry, MIA, I said. I'm just scared I'll never be a guy again. And what would be so terrible about that? She shot back. With your attitude towards women, I doubt any girl loses sleep over it. Frankly, you weren't that good looking. I bet you weren't much of an athlete, probably didn't date much, and mostly just fantasized about being a stud. How could I respond? MIA had summed up my life without ever knowing me. I was a mediocre athlete, too short for basketball, too scrawny for football, and couldn't hit a baseball if it was handed to me. I didn't date much, mostly because I didn't find many girls worth my time. I was exactly the guy MIA described. Well, MIA asked impatiently. Well, what? I asked, hoping she wasn't expecting me to confirm her impression of me. Was I right? She asked pointedly, her smile gone as she stared at me like she wanted to pin me down with her gaze. Once again, my loose tongue had gotten me into trouble. First, I'd lost my masculinity, and now my only friend in this mess was about to walk away too. You're right, I said quietly. Please forgive me. Think you can learn to keep your mouth shut? She asked. I promise to be good. Drop the macho act. I'll be a good girl, I promise, I smiled, hoping to break down the wall between us. Okay, you're forgiven, she sighed, her warm smile returning. Now be good and get back in there to try on the other outfits. As I turned toward the dressing room, MIA added, and don't forget you're a good girl. Our little spat shook me. I cared deeply for MIA and didn't want to upset her. Maybe, once this madness was over, we could be more than just girlfriends. Determined to keep my promise, I tried on every outfit MIA picked, then found a few of my own. I ached to try on slacks, but MIA said we had to wait, something had to be done about the unsightly bulge first. I agreed. I wasn't about to be seen with long curls, makeup, and a bulge where there shouldn't be one. I didn't know what she had planned, but I trusted her. We browsed sexy party dresses, but I couldn't bring myself to buy one. MIA understood and told me it was best to let things unfold naturally. Soon enough, I'd want those things myself. I thought about that as we shopped. MIA had mentioned several times that I'd noticed changes in how I thought, but we'd never really discussed it. After a week on female hormones, I knew I'd soon need the bras I wore. I decided to ask the questions I'd been afraid to voice. We wandered the mall, stopping to admire outfits before grabbing a bite in the food court. My voice was sounding like a bad Carol Channing impression, so I let MIA order for us. She returned smiling, with 2 small salads and Diet Pepsis. Where's my cheeseburger? I asked, eyeing the tiny salad, already feeling hungry. I'm doing you a favor, Emily, she laughed. That burger and shake would go straight to your hips and butt. Some favor, I muttered, staring at my salad. Starvation or gender change? Actually, it's a bit of both, Mia giggled. Think of it as one of the sacrifices women make to be beautiful. Can't I just be plain and eat what I want? I whined. I hate salads and diet stuff. Sorry, Emily, but you'll thank me when you fit into a size 9. I took small bites, trying to make the salad last, sipping my diet Pepsi. I never realized girls ate this stuff out of necessity. I always thought they enjoyed it. God, how I longed for a double quarter pounder, fries, and a giant Pepsi. I could almost taste the pickles and cheese, the hot salty fries. Mia seemed to read my mind. You'll get used to it soon, she said, smiling brightly. Remember, hormones can cause serious weight gain if you're not careful. I'll deal with the weight, please get me a cheeseburger, I begged shamelessly. Boys don't make passes at girls with fat asses, Mia teased. I'm starving and you give me dumb poetry, I whimpered. Not poetry, Emily, she chuckled. Just a fact of life from a girl's perspective. This girl's perspective, how is looking like a girl supposed to make me think like one? I might look the part, but I can't force my mind. It's not the looks that change you, Mia sighed. It's the hormones. They'll turn you into a woman whether you want to be or not. Once your hormone levels shift, your mind will follow. What do you mean whether I want to or not? I almost choked on lettuce. I have to dress like this and deal with the changes, but that's it. You don't really understand what's coming, do you? Mia sounded amazed. Didn't they tell you before you agreed? I did hear things, but I'm still so confused. Can you help me? I don't know who else to ask. Mia placed her hand over mine, and I felt calm. Of course, Emily. Ask me anything. We spent over 2 hours talking about the next 4 years and how I could cope. I shared my fears, and she helped me without ever making me feel foolish. When we finished, I realized I felt something for Mia unlike any girl before. She wasn't just pretty, she was my friend. We spent the rest of that day and all of Sunday window shopping at different malls, saw a romantic movie I actually enjoyed, and I grew more comfortable as Emily. I knew the hormones were probably affecting me. I noticed little things I'd never seen before, like the sky's color at sunset. Somehow, it didn't seem so bad. Mia promised she'd be there whenever I needed to talk or just have a good cry. That weekend, I learned how to coordinate outfits, what to look for in clothes, how to walk in heels, proper behavior in ladies' rooms, and most importantly, how to be a woman in public. We shopped at countless stores, dined in food courts and upscale restaurants, and I even ended up with pierced ears. Everywhere we went, I was treated as a young woman. Just when I was congratulating myself on doing so well, Mia reminded me I still had a long way to go. What do you mean I haven't done much? I asked, confused. I can shop, go to shows or restaurants, and no one even notices. You're a stranger to them, Mia replied. You still need to learn how to interact on a personal level at work, school, or dating. You keep mentioning dating, but I don't see that happening. From my experience, after a few months to a year on hormones, you'll start seeing men differently, Mia explained. It's a gradual change, just like with teenage girls. One day, you'll find yourself looking at a guy and realize, to be blunt, that you want him. Tell me you're joking, I exclaimed. How would I explain to Dad that I have a boyfriend? Your parents have been through extensive counseling, Emily. They're ready to accept you as their daughter. If that means occasionally bringing a guy home or spending the night with one, they'll understand. Spending the night? Isn't that a bit much? Once the operations are over and you've healed, intimacy as a woman will be both possible and pleasurable for you. Pleasurable? I gasped. You mean? I've helped 8 other guys through this program, Emily. All reported peaks. 3 never switched back, and 2 are now happily married women. Married? I was stunned. To men? Of course. Mia looked at me as if I had the IQ of a brick. Sorry to ask such a silly question. Why would a guy marry another guy? I asked, dumbfounded. For the 1,000th and hopefully last time, MIA groaned. Once enrolled, you're legally female. Your birth certificate will say female, your driver's license too. All your old school records have been changed. Everything that once said James Harper, male, now reads Emily Harper, female. I was momentarily taken aback. Everything I'd done in life had been erased and replaced. I tried to explain my unease to MIA, but she waved it off. Everything's not erased, Emily, she said, waving her fork like a magic wand. You're still here, just different, that's all. And getting more different all the time, I replied, crossing my legs and adjusting my skirt's hem. That's life, MIA shrugged. Get used to it. So for the next couple of weeks, I did just that. I got used to dresses and lingerie, being addressed as Miss in stores, voice lessons, and having facial hair zapped away with a needle. I even grew accustomed to appreciative stares and occasional whistles from guys. Just as I thought I was making progress, 2 obstacles appeared, not in my path but on my chest. After a month on estrogen, I noticed I looked better in some of my tighter skirts and tops. The clothes hadn't been tight when I first wore them, but somehow they'd become snug over the weeks. Looking in the mirror after dressing, I felt a little pride seeing my hips, butt, and chest fill out. I wasn't going to be a model for Bust Babes magazine, more like a teen's training bra ad. MIA was delighted with my progress and announced my chest implant surgery was scheduled for the next weekend. I was still unsure about the implants. Part of me wanted to be an 18-year-old guy again, but I couldn't deny the growing urge to wear low-cut tops and dresses to show off my developing cleavage. By then, my voice had changed, and with voice lessons, I sounded like any girl my age. My body had started forming some great curves. I was well on my way to becoming the attractive woman MIA promised. Friday evening, I checked into the hospital with a small overnight bag containing a nightgown, underwear, cosmetics, and a change of clothes. I underwent a thorough exam and was told the surgery would be Saturday, with release on Sunday. The doctor was pleased with my progress, saying my 31-inch bust had developed solely from hormones. He expected further growth after the implants, estimating a 36-inch chest with a B cup. Inwardly, I smiled. There was nothing I could do to stop it, but I didn't want anyone to know I was happy about developing into a good-looking girl. Sleeping that night was difficult. I kept having a nightmare that I was back in high school as Jim, but with chests. The girls pointed and laughed, and the boys called me a cow when they weren't trying to grope me. No matter how I tried to cover up, my shirt buttons popped off, and it was pushed open. When the nurse woke me for breakfast, I could barely eat. Fear and anticipation overwhelmed me. I managed a few bites of toast and juice before it was time for the implants. I expected they'd put me to sleep for the operation, but instead they applied a numbing liquid to my chest and gave me several injections to ensure I wouldn't feel a thing while the doctor worked. As he operated, the doctor repeated everything he'd told me before about chest size, sensitivity, and care. A 36B cup wouldn't look out of place on my frame. I'd need to be careful not to bump them for about a week, after which the pain would ease and be replaced by pleasurable sensations in the right situations. Going braless wasn't recommended for several months. By the time he finished, I was so lost in thought a nurse had to tell me it was over. Another milestone on my journey to becoming a co-ed had passed. Along with the gentle curves of my waist, hips, and butt, I now had chests. A nurse held a mirror so I could see my new chest. I was stunned to see 2 perfectly formed chests rising gently, ending in pointers I'd only seen in magazines. "What do you think, Miss Harper?" the doctor asked, clearly proud. "They're nice, really nice," I muttered, staring. "It takes some getting used to," the nurse said, lowering the mirror. "Becoming a woman is quite a change, but trust me, you're going to be beautiful. Some patients we see never look half as good as you." "Thanks," I smiled up at her. She was probably about 30 and very attractive, but I noticed I wasn't looking at her the way I thought I would. Instead, I found myself studying her hair and makeup, wondering if I looked as good as she did. Back in my room, The nurse helped me into a bra and nightgown since lifting my arms was painful. Once my chests were nestled in the bra cups, she fastened the hooks and adjusted the straps to support them comfortably. The cool nylon nightgown felt wonderful against my skin after hours in the rough hospital gown. I lay back on the bed and quickly fell asleep. When I woke, MIA was sitting beside me, smiling. "Hi," I said, feeling unexpectedly upbeat. "Thanks for coming. You must have had a rough night, you've been out for hours." I told her about my dreams that kept me awake most of the night. "I feel better now though, that nap really helped." "No nightmares, I hope?" MIA grinned. "No, none at all," I answered happily. "Thanks for asking. Judging by your peaceful face in sleep, you must have been having some great dreams." Suddenly, I remembered exactly what I dreamed and blushed. "Yeah, they were okay, I guess." "Come on," MIA teased. "Why the blush?" "I just realized what I was dreaming about," I said, avoiding her eyes. "A bit risque?" "Tell me," MIA laughed. "I love hearing about dreams, the racier, the better." I resisted for a while, but she wore me down. I spilled the details. I was lying on a beach in a white swimsuit, getting a tan. "That's not risque," MIA said firmly. "I know you're holding back. Confess, or I'll introduce you to some guys who'd love to take a sweet young thing like you to the beach for some fun." All right, it wasn't exactly a swimsuit, it was a white bikini. "A teeny-weeny bikini?" MIA laughed. "Teeny-weeny," I admitted, embarrassed. "Just lying there getting a tan?" "Well, I was having suntan lotion applied." "Go on," MIA urged with a mischievous grin. "That's it. So, how was your weekend?" I tried to change the subject, but MIA was relentless. "Who was putting lotion on you?" "Some guy," I murmured. "So let me get this straight," she laughed. "You were lying on a beach in a tiny white bikini, and some guy was putting suntan lotion on you? Sounds pretty hot to me." "It's not what it sounds like," I insisted. "It sounds hot." "It was hot," MIA shot back. "A hunk putting lotion on you while you lay there." "Not a hunk," I exclaimed. "My husband." "Husband?" MIA exclaimed. "Hey, it was just a dream," I pouted. "I can't control what I dream about." "Anyone I know?" MIA asked slyly. "The doctor again," I whispered. "Girl, you've got it bad for him, haven't you?" MIA teased. "Honestly, I don't think he's that cute," I replied. "Neither do I added. "I don't know why he keeps showing up in my dreams." "Probably because he's the most important man in your life right now," MIA shrugged. "Once you're back at school, you'll meet other guys and forget about him." "God, I hope so," I said, troubled by the dream. "It's scary to be dreaming about a guy like that." "Not for women, Emily," MIA said. "Women often fantasize about what it would be like to be married to guys they know. Didn't you ever see girls in school writing their name with a boy's last name?" "You're right," I exclaimed. "I always thought they were silly. Now it's happening to me." "Hormones." "Exactly," MIA nodded. "Your brain is starting to adjust to the female hormones. You're beginning to think of yourself as female." "Please don't tell anyone about this," I begged. "I'd die if my parents found out I'm dreaming about bikinis and lying on the beach with a guy." "They'll notice soon enough, Emily," MIA said softly. "They're probably already watching for signs. You can't hide the physical changes, so you might as well let the mental ones happen over the next few years." "But I'm so scared," I admitted. "What will people think? Will anyone want to be with a freak like me?" "You're a lovely young woman, Emily," MIA said, taking my hand gently. "This will make a better son out of you when it's all over. Your family will understand and love you as their daughter until then." MIA was wonderful. I told her all my fears, and she helped me face them without making me feel foolish. Maybe if I'd had a friend like her before, I wouldn't have been so foolish to get into this situation. That night, I slept well, finally coming to terms with my changing body. I dreamed about the doctor and the beach again, But this time I felt no guilt. Instead, I felt peaceful and happy imagining wearing a bikini and having a guy put lotion on me. After all, I was going to be a woman for 4 years, why not enjoy it? Following the operation, I carefully followed post-op instructions, and soon my chests healed and felt pain-free, though I couldn't stop touching them. I thought about how sensitive they'd become, how they felt in the shower after starting hormones. One night, after a bath, I slipped into a frilly baby doll pajama set I'd bought, slid the top over my head, and gently rubbed my chests through the soft fabric. I'd masturbated as I grew up, but the sensation from rubbing my chests was new, strange, foreign, and far more wonderful than anything I'd known. I turned off the light, lay back on my bed, and drifted to sleep, hoping for dreams of warm sand and a handsome guy helping with my suntan lotion. Weeks later, I went for a checkup. The doctor was thrilled with how my chests had healed and the hormone effects on my body. He used a strange device to measure my body fat and showed me a chart tracking my changes over the past months. I didn't need the chart to know I'd changed, but I was drawn to it anyway. My body fat had increased all over, especially in my hips, butt, thighs, and chest. Before hormones, my chest was 30 inches. After implants, it had grown to 34 inches with an A cup, on the way to a 36-inch B cup. My waist was 31 inches before hormones, but thanks to Mia's constant reminders about diet, it was now down to 27 inches. My hips had blossomed from 34 to 36 inches. It was surreal, an 18-year-old guy with measurements of 34 to 27 to 36. I hadn't worn slacks in over 2 months, had moderately long curly hair, the voice of a 16-year-old girl, and a drive focused on guys who might help with my suntan. All reversible, they promised. I prayed it was true. My final surgery was scheduled 2 weeks later, so I decided to visit my parents to give them time to adjust to their new daughter. I'd kept in touch with Mom, but neither of us wanted to discuss how much I'd changed. After my checkup, I called her and said I wanted to visit before the last surgery. She was thrilled but worried someone might recognize me. "Trust me, Mom," I laughed nervously. "I don't even recognize myself anymore." Dad offered to pick me up, but I declined, saying I could still drive. He was silent for a moment before warning me, "Just don't speed or get stopped by the police. You wouldn't want to explain why you're dressed like that." I thanked him and promised to see them the next day. After hanging up, I packed, feeling nervous about how my parents would react. I hoped Mom had told Dad everything, but I hadn't told her all the details either. She knew I'd been dressing as a woman since returning to school, and about the hair and hormones, but not about their full effects or the implants. For the trip, I chose a tame outfit, a denim skirt ending 6 inches above my knee, and a pink ribbed top that matched my complexion. Thanks to the hormones, my figure and legs looked great in the skirt. I paired the outfit with pink sneakers and ankle socks for a casual look. Satisfied, I packed extra skirts, tops, and a couple of dresses, just in case we went somewhere fancier than McDonald's. I packed enough lingerie for the week, along with cosmetics, nightgowns, and a few pairs of flats and heels, then set my bags aside for the morning. That night, I took a long, hot bubble bath, shaved my legs, and slipped into my babydoll nightgown to watch TV before turning in. The next morning, sunlight streaming through the window woke me before my alarm. I rubbed the sleep from my eyes carefully, trying not to poke myself with my nails. I brushed my teeth and styled my hair while waiting for breakfast to finish cooking. Mom had taught me basic cooking years ago, but living on my own these past few months had really sharpened those skills. Mia often stopped by, and I'd prepare us delicious meals, crepes with fruit and tea for breakfast, or my specialty dinner of Oriental chicken with stir-fried veggies, salad, and a special homemade pie or coffee cake for dessert. Mia used to tease me about what a great wife I'd make some lucky guy, but when the hormones hit hard, I'd blush and thank her, making the teasing lose its fun. I took my time at breakfast, telling myself I wanted my hair to look perfect, but mostly stalling. I was still terrified of meeting my parents as a girl. I poked and fussed for as long as I could, but eventually, I had to get ready. There was no more putting it off. I'd once thought going out in public wearing a dress was the hardest thing I'd ever do. I was wrong. Getting to my bedroom that day to dress was even harder. I had to lift each foot just to walk there, and once in the room, I didn't want to take off my nightgown. It wasn't just that I spent most of my free time in nightgowns, I practically lived in them at the apartment. It was that taking it off meant getting dressed, and then meeting my family. So, if I just didn't get dressed, there'd be no problem. What was left of my male pride put up a fight but lost quickly to the new female pride I felt when I looked at myself. Off came the nightgown, and on went the slip, bra, skirt, top, and a few accessories. Those extras were the tribute my developing female personality demanded for winning the battle over dressing: a necklace, several bracelets, perfume, and the makeup I'd promised myself I wouldn't wear. I didn't want to overdo the makeup but wanted to look nice, so I settled on blush, soft pink eyeshadow, and lipstick. I took out my curlers and carefully brushed my hair, painstakingly creating loose curls that I thought looked beautiful. Once my makeup and hair were done, I checked my outfit one last time, sprayed perfume between my chests, behind my ears, and on my knees, grabbed my luggage, and headed home, hoping my parents would accept the woman I was becoming. My hands sweated profusely as I pulled into the driveway. I was relieved to see only my parents' cars there, no audience to face. Shutting off the engine, I glanced in the rearview mirror to check my makeup, grabbed my purse, and headed inside. Mom and Dad rushed to greet me. "Jim, is that you?" "Welcome," Dad called, entering the room. He looked at me and suddenly lost his train of thought. "Is he here, honey?" Mom called from the kitchen. "Well, I guess so," Dad muttered, staring at me for several tense seconds. Just as I was about to turn and run crying from the house, he broke into a smile, wrapped his arms around me, and held me tight. "Yes, dear, she is," he said warmly. Mom came in and, without hesitation, threw her arms around me, hugging me tightly. Mom was always a hugger, and I desperately needed one right then. "You look so pretty, Emily," she said, holding me close. "Doesn't she, dear?" Dad smiled. "Mom's right, Emily. I bet you have to beat the guys off with a stick." "That hasn't been a problem so far, Dad," I said, setting down my purse. "I'm hoping to avoid that kind of attention, if you know what I mean." "I understand, Emily," Dad replied softly. "But you are a very pretty young woman, and guys will definitely notice a girl as cute as you." "We'll talk about that later, Bob," Mom said. "Be a gentleman and bring in our daughter's luggage." "I can manage on my own," I said, heading for the door. But Mom wasn't having it. She held me tightly. "Why don't you ladies have a cup of tea and catch up?" Dad joked as he walked out. "I'll take your luggage to your room, Emily." Relieved beyond words, I almost cried. My parents were the most wonderful people on earth. Here I was, dressed like a girl, and they treated it as perfectly natural. Mom and I followed Dad's advice and went into the kitchen for some privacy. Dad always seemed to know how to handle things, and this time was no different. I felt the need to have a mother-daughter talk. When Dad returned, Mom had already helped me through the difficult part of openly discussing my feelings about the changes I'd undergone and what was still to come. Dad quietly sat at the table, listening as I poured out how the hormones were affecting me physically and mentally. "How often do you take them?" he asked, glancing at the cleavage revealed by my low-cut top. "Every day," I said, surprised at how easy it was to talk this way. "No, I mean, are all those changes from hormones?" "Mostly. I was a 32 before the implants, now I'm a 34B, and I should be a 36B soon." "You look so nice. Do you do your own makeup?" Mom asked sweetly. "Thanks, Mom. I took classes on makeup, hairstyling, and clothes. I had to learn everything a girl my age is expected to know." "I'd say you paid close attention," Dad marveled, glancing at my crossed legs. "Your hair, makeup, and outfit are perfect. You even act like a lady," Mom said with pride. "I didn't know they had classes to help men become women," Dad said, puzzled. "Is that new?" They're for guys who want to become women, I explained. Before surgery, a guy has to live as a woman for a year. The classes teach how to look and act like a woman to help adjust. I suppose it's not easy for you, Dad said sympathetically. At first, no, I admitted. But the hormones are making it easier. What do you mean? Mom asked. Do they make you want to be a woman? Kind of, I explained. I don't mind the clothes and makeup like I did at first. I wasn't going to wear makeup today, but then I just felt like I should. That's not too bad, Mom smiled. Actually, it's good, it helps you look your best. I never realized a man could actually feel like a woman, Dad said. Not to be rude, but do you have to feel that way? I didn't at first, Dad, honestly, I exclaimed. But the more hormones I take, the more natural it feels to wear makeup and pretty underwear. I suddenly realized I'd said too much and hoped they hadn't noticed. But Dad, always a good listener, was waiting. Pretty what? He asked. Underwear, I replied, starting to cry. I like wearing really pretty underwear. It feels so nice and looks so pretty, I can't help it. Don't cry, Emily, Mom said, wiping my tears. You're feeling what any woman feels. It's fun to wear sexy lingerie, it makes a woman feel pretty and feminine. That's what sets us apart from men. But I don't want to be different, Mom, I cried. I'm turning into a woman and I can't stop. Worse, I don't want to. Dad put his arm around me, holding me close. You're going to have to relax and let yourself go, Emily, he said gently. You have 4 years as a woman ahead. It'll be easier if you don't fight it. Relax and enjoy life. But Dad, I sobbed. You don't understand. I like wearing pretty clothes and makeup. I like how guys look at me. I understand more than you think, Emily, Dad replied. Mom and I have talked a lot since you left. It's an unusual way to teach a lesson, but obviously an important one. You've changed a lot in just a few months. It's too bad it took this to change you. But what happens when it's over? I wailed. What if I still feel like a woman? I think you'd make a lovely daughter, Emily, Mom said. But you'll have to make that choice when the time comes. I'm afraid I'm making that choice now, I said, despairing. I'm really starting to enjoy being a girl. Don't worry about it, Emily, Mom reassured me. Life isn't that different for men and women. You still have to get through college, either way. Why don't you ladies go upstairs and put things away? Dad said, ending the conversation. By the way, Emily, I'd be honored if you and Mom joined me for dinner tonight. If you need something to wear, maybe Mom could lend you a dress. That sounds fun, Dad, I said happily. Is it someplace fancy? Yes, I suppose so. Is that a problem? No, I smiled. I have just the dress to wear. Mom and I had a wonderful time putting my things away, and she absolutely loved the outfit I planned to wear that night. I'd bought the dress on my very first solo shopping trip. It was perfect for a warm evening at a nice restaurant, white with a black top, black and white buttons down the front, and a white waist-length jacket that contrasted beautifully with the black fabric of the dress's top. I was just getting used to shopping alone when I spotted the dress, and something made me want to try it on. Once I had it on and saw how it hugged my bust line and hips like a glove, I knew I had to have it. A quick mental check showed I had nothing in my wardrobe to match it, no shoes, stockings, or accessories that the dress seemed to call for. So after buying the dress, I picked up white heels, sheer stockings, a small white clutch, imitation pearl earrings, and a black and white necklace to complete the look. As we put my clothes away, Mom and I talked about the changes in me and how I felt about them. She was incredibly understanding when I told her how confused I was, but like Dad, she insisted it would be best to think of myself as female, not just a male made to look like one. I began to cry, confessing that I wasn't sure I could do that. Sometimes I thought of myself as a girl, but there was always a deep fear I'd be recognized and laughed at. I don't know what to do, Mom, I cried. I've learned how to look and act like a girl, but how do I actually be a girl? Mom took my hand and led me to my bed, sitting beside me. By relaxing, she said softly. You're very pretty, and no one will think of you as a boy. Just calm down and enjoy being a woman. Let men open doors and treat you kindly. Smile, thank them, flirt a little. It makes them feel more like men, and they'll make you feel more like a woman. How could I possibly flirt with another guy, Mom? I asked tearfully. They'll know something's not right. I didn't say to go to bed with them, silly, Mom laughed. Women flirt in 1,000 little ways men pick up on. When a handsome man catches your eye, hold his gaze and smile. If you reach a door at the same time, slow down so he can open it for you. When you go through, look at him, smile, and thank him, you'll make his day. I never realized how easily guys fall for a pretty girl, I grinned. I can't believe I fell for some of those tricks myself. If you do it right, dear, Mom said quietly, they'll never know what hit them. The trick is to make them think it's all their idea, while you wrap them up like Christmas presents under a tree. You will be that tree, and never lonely. Sounds like fun, Mom, I said, kissing her cheek. Who knows, this could get to be fun. Being a woman is fun, sweetheart, she laughed as we hugged. You'll see soon enough. Believe me, you're going to have the time of your life these next few years. Relax and live it to the fullest. Thanks, Mom, I said, relieved. You're wonderful. I wish we'd talked like this sooner, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. But then I wouldn't have this lovely young woman as my daughter. Mom laughed. And I think that would be just terrible. We laughed and planned what we'd do during my visit. Instead of fear, I looked forward to shopping as mother and daughter.